Now kiss your gorgeous bride.
Bringing this all out.
Okay.
Because this is over after today. I'm never going to look at your face again.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, because I learned so much.
Bye-bye.
I know that's right.
You take zero accountability for your part, which is also why this goes back to your relationship with your brother. But here's the thing, Danielle. If I was an asshole and a bitch, then I will own it, and I will say I'm sorry. Bitch to me, and you don't own it. Because you're the biggest bitch ever.
Is it that serious?
If this woman was such a good friend to you, why would you care if she was on the show? I wanted her on the show.
She tried to get her on the show.
Wait a damn minute.
Jacqueline told me so much that you and my brother were doing. No, I don't, doll. This is what you like. Caroline Manzo put you in jail. You're the queen of the back. I think you did.
It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the reunion part 1. And I can just say that the girls are coming for blood. They already saying, I'm done with you. I'm never going to see you after this. Bye-bye. This and the third. I'm just like, dang, like it really seemed like it's going to be tense. This whole entire season was very much toxic for me and my core. It was just too heavy. And it's just like, at some point, I don't know what the producers are going to have to do, but at some point, we got to do something because it's just a lot. And my whole thing is, I don't want this family to deteriorate. But at some point, we have to move on. I feel like let them fix it off the show, Joe and Teresa, and then that'll be that because it's just not gonna get any better. But y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flame. And if you wanna play with me, you can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, want it, securing the bag.
All right, so the show basically kicks off exactly where it needs to because we don't see them coming in, we don't see nothing, we see them sitting down, and he's over here like, oh, y'all look great, do the intros, and we pop right into the reunion. And I'm just like, thank God, I ain't even got time. We see Joe calls, and like basically he was like, Teresa, ask if Bill has anybody, if he does like under eye bags and something like that. So cute little moment. It's good to see that they're still on, cordial terms. So I'm thinking that's really good. So basically Andy kicks it off and he asks Melissa and Teresa, like, so what's the goal for this reunion? Where do we want to get at the end of this? And Teresa's just like, at the end of that, I want to close this chapter and wish her well. And Melissa's like, yeah, I want truth to come out and, also closing in peace. So we basically kicks it off with Teresa's wedding, and like I just saw in the last video, if you haven't seen that video, it's gonna be right here. But Teresa's wedding was amazing. There's a lot of stuff that happened, and Andy asked, what was the biggest adjustment? And I don't think he meant in the way that Teresa answered the question. I think he probably meant like, what was the biggest adjustment to getting married? I think that's what he was trying to do. But Teresa jumped the gun and she was just like, look, the biggest thing was my family. My family wasn't there. They weren't there for me. They didn't do nothing for me. They were over here just horrible. His family has stepped up. They're so amazing. My family is just like this.
This thing was my family.
Okay.
Like hurting us right before we were getting married. His family's so wonderful, and then here's my family hurting him. How did anyone hurt him?
I'm just like, damn, tell me how you really feel. But I do feel like at some point Teresa do be playing delusional because you can say your family does all of that, but you have to take accountability for what you have done to get y'all to this point. Like, come on, what are we talking about? But, Melissa, she's like, okay, so how do we hurt you? And I'm just like, Melissa, girl, like, use common sense because for me, by y'all not coming, cool, that's fine. You made a statement, y'all have to come. But to, up the ante and go on social media and basically antagonize and poke on her wedding day, at some point, I'm just like, why? So that part when she was like, oh, how do we hurt you? Girl, what are you talking about? You playing delusional too. Okay. So, they over here start going, they start going crazy.
I actually thought that it was you guys trying to call me a cheater. So don't get it twisted.
Okay, hold on. We're not doing jumping the gun here.
But, Andy regains control and he's just like, okay, we're skipping parts. Let's cool it down. We're going to get to that, but just like, let's ease into it. So Teresa's like, yeah, we just need to ease into it. It's cool. Act like Beverly Hills. We need to act like Beverly Hills and talk one by one. And Melissa's like, girl, we are not in Beverly Hills. Like, girl, you definitely not in Beverly Hills either. Andy basically asks, okay, so do you know why Dina didn't show up? And Teresa's like, okay, she didn't show up because she didn't want to be on camera, period.
Why exactly did Dina bow out of being a bridesmaid?
She didn't want to be on camera.
And not gotten on
she didn't
camera.
want people knowing she was coming here.
And then everyone basically talked about, okay, well, there was like something that was going on with Dina's husband and Teresa's husband, like a deal gone bad. And then, you know, the speculation of the beef with Dolores. So everybody's trying to bring that up. But I'm just going to play the clip from Dina herself. So here.
I have to go down this path. I don't know if it's uncomfortable, but what's the real scoop with Teresa's engagement party with Dolores?
So you know me, I'm going to tell the real story. Okay. Teresa, obviously Dave and I were there for the engagement, the actual engagement.
That was in Greece.
We were in Greece with them when it happened. We were a big part of it. You know, we knew before Teresa knew. And then Teresa said, you know, Dee, I'm having this party, engagement party, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And right away my heart sunk, because what a lot of people don't understand is I had not been back to New Jersey at all. From 2009, during the pandemic at all. But so for me to go to this event,
By the way, this is the ex.
first of all, was a huge deal, emotionally and PTSD wise and everything. Because if you guys remember, the incident happened on the night of Teresa's small dinner party for Audriana's christening.
This is PTSD.
So it was a little too close for comfort. Like, here I am going back east for an event for Teresa that everyone was going to know about. So my initial instinct was like, Teresa, I love you. Oh, I love you. I was there at the engagement. I don't think I need to be there for the party.
I don't know the whole situation, so I'm not going to speak on it. So that's why I put the video in so she could speak on it. But I mean, I think that's the reason why she didn't show up, this, that, and the third, right? So, so basically what Teresa was saying made sense. She was like, she didn't want to be on the show. She didn't want to see certain people and did this, that, and the third. Cool. So we talk about Teresa not inviting the in-laws, and I feel like if y'all have watched my reviews through and through, you already know how I feel. Like, at the end of the day, why are we inviting the in-laws? Like, and I don't mean Teresa's in-laws. I mean Joe's wife's family. The thing that I'm still confused on with Melissa is, like, you know that y'all are not cool. Y'all are not cool. And then you know that your mother and your sister are going to defend you, rightfully so. So they have said stuff in the past about Teresa. Obviously, Teresa didn't let it go, because she's talking about I forgive and forget, girl, bye. But it's obviously she didn't let it go. So why are you so shocked that she's not going to invite them? I wouldn't invite them either. Period. It's my wedding day. I'm paying for it. So if I'm paying for it and you're not, if your name is not on the list, your name is not on the list. Sorry. Melissa basically interjection. She's just like, you know, at the end of the day, when you needed us, we were there for you. But when you don't need us, you just throw us away. We just discard it. We're just disposable. And Teresa brings up like this random thing to Andy. She's like, you know, Andy, one thing about them, they have never invited me out to dinner. They have never invited me out to dinner. And I just felt like, Teresa, you just made yourself look stupid, because not only did Melissa say that that's not true, they have pictures and proof. And then Teresa's like, well, not that time. It's another time. Regardless of the fact, I mean, it didn't really help your case. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, the girls start bringing up husbands. And, you know, Melissa basically calling Louis an opportunist, because she was like, you know, Louis wanted to be on the show. And then Margaret brings up something about him wanting to date Alexia. For what reason? I don't know. But, I mean, Louis gives opportunist vibes, but it is what it is. And then Teresa's like, at the end of the day, you're such a liar, and I'm so happy after this I would never have to see your face again. Melissa's like, girl, where you going? Teresa's like, I'm not going anywhere. You're leaving. Yeah. I don't know how Andy's like, you know, we're going to make it to the end. Like, we're going to come to some sort of resolution. He's so optimistic. And I'm just like, how? Why would you even want this to keep going? Like, it's just crazy to me and unhealthy. So Teresa basically, you know, declares that, you know, she is done with Melissa. She's like, you know what, I'm never gonna have to see her face again after this, ever. I'm just like, damn. So, you know, we get on the whole wedding, and Andy asks Margie, so why were you crying? Because I was confused.
It was emotional. She walked out by herself. I could cry thinking it. It was bittersweet. She looked beautiful. It was emotional.
Because she's just like, oh my God, it was so beautiful. It was like, look at him. It's just, She's talking about all that, but I'm just like, you over here crying. And she said, I genuinely came to the wedding for Teresa. Okay, if you genuinely came to the wedding for Teresa, then you would have genuinely stayed to the end. And if so, you would have genuinely not bring up Joe. Like, you're making this, and like Jackie and like Jim Fessler said, like, at the end of the day, you're over here basing your opinion wanting to leave off of Joe and Melissa, but this is about Teresa. So if you wanted to do that in the beginning, you should never came in the first place. So, I mean, and she got mad with her friends because she's just like, oh no, you're not gonna talk about this, we're done. But don't get mad when they speaking facts. If you really came there for Teresa, you wouldn't have brought it up. You would just been in the moment, had a good time, and you could still show loyalty. But if you're trying to be cool with her, be cool with her. But it's just weird.
I was touched. I was touched. I mean, listen, I went to go look for her at my wedding. I was genuinely there for her.
Oh, Margaret's basically getting her high horse, and she's just like, you know, at the end of the day, watching this season back, I was so sick to my core of what was being said behind my back and what was done. It's just so disgusting. And Danielle was like, she has nothing to do with that. I mean, Danielle, I get you tired of different young girl, but come on now.
Season finale and know everything that was going on behind my back.
I had nothing to do with any of that.
Okay.
And then Margaret's like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the private investigator.
What show did you watch? I think you know. Nothing to do with it. No one's talking to you. Don't give two shits about that. I care about private investigators. What are you
Andy's like, okay, well, we're not going to skip to that part. Let's not jump too far. But at the end of the day, I don't feel bad if Louis got a private investigator on Margaret per se. I'm not mad about it because at the end of the day, Margaret, you pulled up information on all these other girls. You have talked to all the other girls' friends. You have did all this other stuff to people. So I don't feel bad if somebody got you at. Like, I feel like Teresa, Jen, and Margaret are the three that go digging for people's information. So if somebody pull up information on them in their past, I'm not mad at it. The only thing about Teresa is she damn near open book. So I don't feel bad. I'm just like, you want to be over here like this arsenal. I mean, he pulled one on you too. I just don't get the whole situation when he's like, oh yeah, Bodino got information on all y'all. I mean, what did Rachel, Danielle, Dolores, Jen Fessler do to Louis? Who knows, right? So we turn to Dolores, and you know, it's the same old my man.
Okay, girl, bye.
What makes what makes you fall for Paulie? She's just like, you know, he's a part of my life, and the difference between Paulie and David is David was so separate. To me, I thought that it was that she wanted to spend more time with David, but he was always working. That's what I thought, but maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought, right?
How long has he been divorced, Paulie?
He's not.
Why?
He's been separated for 14 years.
Why?
So then we find out that Paulie's not divorced, and in my head, my first reaction was like, girl, you dumb as hell. Prime example, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kenya Moore. Kenya been going through this crazy divorce situation when she's been over here trying to get divorced for what, 3-4 years now? Same with Paulie, but I feel like with Paulie, he wasn't actively trying to get divorced. And I think now that he's trying to get remarried to Dolores, I think he's gonna try to get divorced. So we'll see what's going on with that, right? We get on Danielle.
And how long since you two spoke?
August will be 3 years, but I'm actually going to see him tomorrow for the first time.
Where?
And Danielle talks about her brother. She hasn't talked to her brother for 3 years, and you know, her grandmother died. You know, sorry to hear for her, but she's supposed to see him the next day. But she was like, they were like, well, have you reached out before then? She's like, well, you know, I sent a gift for their daughter, a little sweater, but they returned the gift. And I'm just like, damn, like, I really want to know, what is the beef? Like, what is the beef? Because to send someone a gift, you would think that'd be like a peace offering, but then to send it back, it's like, you are really mad. Danielle basically asked Margaret, she's like, okay, Margaret, like at the end of the day, please tell me that you know something. Do you know something? Because I want to know, since you got this arsenal, you do the digging, do you know something that my brother don't know? And Margaret's like, no, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to see a family being torn apart and this and third. I have nothing but good intentions for your family. And I'm just like Andy said, I mean, that's so funny that you say that because you have spoken nothing but ill towards her family. So for you to say that you want nothing but positive things for her and her family is crazy, because you damn near over here told her that she'll never get back cool with her brother.
I'm gonna tell you something point blank. That's why you're gonna have problems in your family your whole f***ing life.
Right. So Margaret basically said that she's sorry for hurting her, but she stands by the message about, you know, forgive and forget. And I just feel like that's just some BS, because at the end of the day, I'm not saying when you forgive someone to forget and hold on to it. Like I'm saying, if I forgive someone, I'm not going to forget. That's just how I am. But I'm not going to hold on to those same feelings that I have. I'm going to move forward with you in a positive direction. But if I don't have that mental awareness, then I'll just be doing the same thing over and over. It's like, for example, let's say I give one of my friends money, they never give me my money back. A couple months later, they ask me for money again, and I still give them money. They don't give my money back again. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm a dumbass bitch. So, like, what are we talking about? So, no, I'm not gonna give them money. Simple. I do feel like the rift between Danielle and Margaret was both 50-50 participation. Danielle was so hell-bent on this whole Arsenal situation. Did she bring it up every time? No, but she did imply that Margaret knows a lot about people and made it such a concern. And Margaret was so hell-bent about why, one, Danielle over here talking to Laura, two, about the whole brother conversation, and three, I mean, Margaret, you did talk mad junk about Danielle, how she look, how she act, she not bougie, she this, that, and third. Like, you really did go ham on that girl. And then all of a sudden, Teresa and Melissa, they go at it. Excuse me, they go at it again.
You forgive and forgetting. You forgive and forget. Oh dear God, we're at delusional like highest level.
It's like, you know, I like Danielle. I like Danielle. We were getting to know each other. We were really bonding. But Teresa was just like, yeah, because you want her to be on your side. You want her to be on your side. Teresa, I don't know if Teresa had some shots or whatever, but Teresa was really feeling herself. I wish that Teresa, if she had the same energy and she would actually be able to be quick-witted and be really witty with her words, oh, they probably couldn't take Teresa. They couldn't take Teresa. But Teresa's not that. Teresa is slightly delayed. Sometimes stuff go over her head. So I'm just like, if she really was quick with it, y'all couldn't take Teresa. Couldn't. But, you know, they go back and forth because Melissa's like, it's not about a side. You're trying to assassinate my character. This, that, and the third. Stupid stuff. So Danielle then starts to get on Rachel about basically snitching on her to Margaret. And Danielle basically says, when they saw the flashback, Danielle said,
Everybody keeps telling us like Margaret has an arsenal of stuff on women. I don't like that, the talky thing. No, I know. But I think she's...
People are saying that, you know, Margaret has an arsenal. And Rachel did say that Danielle said. So it was basically semantics. And I've said this before. But like I said before, at the end of the day, you know, Danielle, you were trying to allude that Margaret knew something. And you were trying to make it seem like Margaret was... you're trying to paint her character in a different light than what you have known. So I do feel like at the end of the day, regardless of what the message was, I mean, you still were trying to, when Rachel said, well, you know, at the end of the day, we can't just go off of what they're saying. We have to, you know, take it for a grain of salt and just get to know her on our own. But you still ran with that narrative, right? I just feel like instead of being mad about that, I feel like what Danielle should have been mad about is that, you know, Rachel got a big mouth and can't hold water. That's what she should have been mad at. That made more sense to me. Both started verbally going at each other. Rachel's bringing up the whole brother, and Danielle not having accountability. They start cussing each other out, yelling.
We're looking here. Don't take your insecurities out on me. Wait, what? Me? My balls drag out the door. I'm not insecure. Out the door.
And I'm just like, Jesus, is it that deep? But you know, Andy basically tells them, he like stops them mid convo. He's just like, look, this it's not that deep. Like, just get over it. Y'all can be cool. Just woosah. And, you know, Dolores speaks up. She's just like, look, at the end of the day, y'all have been going after each other. It's a stupid conversation. Just move forward in a better direction. And they basically tabled the conversation. And I'm like, thank God. Because ain't nobody got time. Right? Do I feel like they're going to be cool? They're going to try to be cool. But I do feel like this is a budding beef that will carry on next season.
Teresa, Barbara from Bend, Oregon said, Antonia seems like such a sweet niece. Why publicly shame her for not attending your daughter's Sweet 16?
So we get on the whole Antonia thing, and basically Rachel asked a question about, you know, to Teresa about how does your kids get along with Melissa's kids? And I do feel like it's a setup question, and the only real reason I feel like it's a setup question is because she asked Teresa and not asking both of them. The question should have been directed to both of them, not one or the other, but both of them.
Are your kids and Melissa's kids close? Rachel had asked me the question, and you know, I should have just not answered you, because that was a setup question. No, yeah.
Like, hey, Teresa, Melissa, like, how are y'all kids coinciding together? And that could have prompted a different response, because then Melissa would have talked, Teresa would have talked. But then when you just give it to Teresa's going off of, well, you know, they were closer, but, you know, Antonia didn't come to Melania's party, this and the third, and that sparked the whole situation. But then Andy brings up, you know, because Melissa's like, yeah, it's just so horrible, like, you shouldn't bring up kids. But Andy brings it up too, like, okay, you talk about you don't bring up kids, you want to be on your high horse, but you brought up kids too.
You got very upset and you said kids are off limits, but like, You guys have talked about Gia and
No,
said
oh my
things.
God,
She on your
receipts about that?
podcast.
And if you watch my old videos, you can see all the things Melissa has said about them. Now, has she like said anything like, oh, they are horrible, they are this and the third? No. But Melissa, you did say they have hate in their heart. And you did say that you put food on their table. I don't know anyone that's going to be like, oh my God, thank you, you put food on our table. I don't know how that's going to be taken as a compliment. You could say, you know what, when their family was down, we were there to help them up until they can get back into a better position. Instead of saying, we put food on your table. I don't see how anybody would take that like, oh, thank you. No. Andy also brings up the whole conversation that Melissa had in the car with Antonio, basically like not holding a grudge with Teresa, and I felt like that was a great conversation to have. I was definitely here for Melissa, but Teresa feels like, you know, that was just made for TV. She just did that for the TV.
Ever want you to like hold a grudge against Zia Teresa if you see Daddy upset over her? The reason why she did that, we're filming a TV show. Okay.
And the reason I don't think that they did it for TV is because when, like, what, episode 2 or 3, when they were down at the beach house with the mom and the sister, Melissa's mom and sister, when they were about to, you know, basically drag Teresa and Louie, they basically told the kids, like, hey, can y'all excuse yourselves? And the kids got up, and then they went to dragging Teresa and Louie. So, I mean, it's like they don't want their kids around it. Obviously, you know, Antonio probably hears it because she is like, what, 17, 18 years old, about to go to college. She got access to social media. She sees it. But, I mean, it's going to be inevitable. Like, the kids are going to defend their parents. I don't see any kids going to be like, okay, you could drag my mama, cool. I don't see it happening. This one moment, Andy asked Jen, he was like, didn't you invite Laura to your viewing party for season 13? And she's like, yep.
To your season 13 premiere party and post pics together?
Oh, yes.
I mean, are you still friends with her?
The honesty, right? But at the end of the episode, you know, basically Teresa tells Melissa, she was like, at the end of the day, like, you have to realize that I'm your storyline. I've always been your storyline. And Melissa's like, no, Joe has always been your storyline. No, Melissa. No, Melissa. Joe has been one of Teresa's storylines, but you have to give it to her. Teresa has went to jail. Teresa had kids on the show. Teresa over here got divorced. Teresa over here got re-engaged too, started a new family. Like, there's so much that has happened within her run on Real Housewives of New Jersey. And then we go to Melissa. I mean, Melissa has had a music career. She created Envy. There was that time where she thought she was going to have another child. So I'm just like, I mean, I have to give it to Teresa. I mean, she constantly had something going on, low-key. But then we get into this whole situation where she's like, well, you know, at the end of the day, Jacqueline told me all the stuff you have talked about with Joe's business partner, this, that, and the third.
Okay, because this is over after today. I'm never going to look at your face again. Bye-bye. Yeah, because I learned so much.
Bye-bye.
Jacqueline told me so much that you and my brother were doing.
Because y'all the reason why I went to jail. To make accusations like that, Teresa, is dangerous. And I don't know in what context she's basically saying this, because I know stuff gets spliced and cut it and edited. But, girl.
No, I don't, doll. This is what you like. Caroline Manzo put you in jail. You're the queen of the back. I think you did. Oh, my God.
That's heavy. I don't think that they would go to that extent to put you in jail. Now, somebody put you in jail. But I don't think it was them. I think it probably was the federal government, just like with Genshaw. But what do I know? But y'all, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for all the support and the love. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.